Welcome back to Day 1 of Groups, where I'm thrilled to jump into Game 5 alongside Ender, where Gen.G from the LCK try to continue keeping Koreans proud and happy as they're facing off against the LPL's LGD. Stick around, because immediately after this game, TSM take on Fnatic. Let's turn our attention straight to the draft here, Ender. Right out the gate, Ornn is banned away. This will be our first look at Gen.G, and of course LGD, after a small break after qualifying through play-ins.
Yeah, and LGD took a little bit to warm up into play-ins, I think is a very mild way of putting it. Of course, in the best of fives, they took care of business very quickly, so I am curious to see what form they show up in here today. We saw Peanut especially change up his pool a bit, went back to the Kindred, which was a big comfort pick for him, and LGD in general cleaned up their play a whole lot since the early days of playing.
It definitely was a surprising start to the group stage, having to win a tiebreaker to even advance to the knockouts. But as you mentioned, in the knockouts, very dominant performance. Turn our attention to Gen.G as it's their debut on the world stage for 2020. All eyes, I think, on Ruler. This is a bot laner that I've seen touted as the best bot laner by several analysts. I want to see what he can do.
Yeah.
Got himself a real mid laner this time round, and we need to see how Gen.G will perform. Of course, the
man's already won world championship.
Yes, exactly.
Trevor. He is absolutely on form coming into this tournament. Both Lucian left open. That, of course, is going to be the instant lock here for Gen.G. And with Lilia Nidalee banned away, you're expecting to see this again paired with an Evelynn in the jungle for Clid.
All right, with the Nidalee, Lilia, Graves removed from the jungle pool, Kalista from bot, as well as the Twisted Fate removed. Remember, xiye had some very good performances on that TF mid. Now, we've seen LGD throughout the play-in stage, and if there were things to be nervous of or excited for in terms of some of their picks, I know we were quite critical on Peanut overall, and yes, he popped off on the Kindred at the end of the knockouts. Where do you want to look for them? What are you hoping that they've learned from their performance in play-ins?
Well, I'm hoping, because even in some of the games they lost, they actually got out to a good start in their games. A lot of their mistakes actually came when over-forcing team fights from an advantage state. So they kind of threw away some of their leads, and it was that sort of sloppiness that did end up being quite a problem for them. So I think tightening that up, making sure that they're not over-forcing these fights. And then also, the other man that I feel like I didn't get to see all of was Mark, because Mark was really touted as being an insane roaming support, always leaving his lane, always making an impact on the game. And I didn't think Mark played poorly. I just don't feel like he lived up to what I was expecting, and I'm really hoping to see more of that out of him today.
Going to be a difficult matchup into Ruler and Life in the bottom lane from Gen.G, as we can see the Gragas now locked in to complement the Lucian.
Yeah, so Gragas is a pivot away from the Evelynn, of course, and I do find this quite interesting that it comes in. It is the other AP jungler you can go for. Gives you some more options when it comes to his ultimate and the impact that can have later on in team fights, as well as, I would say, stronger early game gank setup without necessarily needing your team to have a lot of hard CC, or I'm thinking about the Nidalee right here, but of course, next to an Evelynn, like the early game level 3 plus ganks with a body slam are going to be really influential.
Now, what are the odds that it is a support? Life did play it 3 times during the course of the regular season. I know the odds are incredibly low.
Oh, I know what Clid is doing. He knows Peanut's going to pick the Kindred, okay?
Knock him out.
Oh, and of course, this can also be bot lane Gragas. We do have to point out the flex options there. That's why we still see the Evelynn getting banned away, but I would say Evelynn probably struggles a little bit into the Kindred in terms of her ultimate. If she's playing around her teammate, if you're balling up against that Evelynn, that can be a little bit more difficult to deal with. Already, though, you have strong lane setup with a Lucian, with an Ashe to play around this Gragas and try to take over the game.
The thing I do like about the laning side on LGD, Syndra plus Renekton plus Kindred, gives you a little bit of priority in lanes. Potentially, we need to see how the matchups play out. Of course, with that Lucian, be a little bit more challenging in the early levels. But one of the things that worked very, very well during play-ins, unlock the ability to push that wave in, back up your Kindred if you want to. Next 2 bans, Zoe, Kindred, Ezreal, and Jhin. So Kramer, where does he go to? With the Ashe already locked in, Kalista banned away, Twitch is probably too bold, right? Even though we did see it during the course of the play-in stage.
It's possible you could go for it here, but I think you're going to be struggling because of the range advantage that Ashe is going to have in the bottom lane. Kramer does like a lot of these longer range picks, and I wonder almost if he would go back to a Misfortune that he visited briefly in the play-in stage. I think against a Gragas that could be a little bit difficult because that ultimate can very easily counteract your own here. But usually Kramer for LGD is the guy that's sort of, you know, biding his time, farming it up, getting into the later stages of the game to when he can unlock and be a huge menace in the team fight.
Now, what do you want this Gragas to go? Jungle or support? As I mentioned, Life has played it 3 times. The Volibear is locked in, expecting that top into the Renekton. And of course, with the Sett being locked in, you've still technically got flexes, right?
Yeah, they can do a lot. I mean, I think Gragas does have some nice interactions where he can sort of like body slam and interrupt a lot of the abilities coming through from the side of LGD, the Zenith Blade, and that, of course. I don't think we're allowed to lock this one in. Everyone, Samira is not enabled on the current patch, and neither is Yone for that matter. But
I feel
Mark's
like
playing games with us.
Administratively disabled at another time. And of course, with all those AD carries being banned away and talking about range and options, it will be the Senna that is locked in for Kramer. Senna, Leona, Kindred, Syndra, Renekton, and we'll find out where the shenanigans go for the flex picks.
Yeah, so I think you need to put the Gragas in jungle because he is going to be your main source of magic damage outside of, you know, some that Volibear can provide with a tankier build, but it really should be going into the jungle here. If you put it down into the support role, you're not getting enough gold to force a Renekton to ever itemize an MR item, and already Ninja Hobbies are going to be such an insane purchase for anyone over on the side of LGD, but luckily you have some incentives to go into the magic resist route because of the CC options in the Ashe.
Well, we jump straight into game here as Gen.G have fanned themselves out. We can see Ruler and Life slowly pushing forward just to spot out where Kramer is for now. But for Gen.G, as it is the debut to the stage, when we take a look at the team, another one of the faster, more aggressive teams coming out of LCK. I think as a league, as a region, as a whole, comparative to previous years, it's sped up, a lot more tempo. But Gen.G, a little rough around the edges at times for the games I was watching. Still make a few small mistakes here and then. You can see an invade already going on early.
Yeah, there's always the one beacon of stability, which is going to be Ruler, especially when he's on a lane dominant champion like the Ashe, already walking in at level 1. Not going to be able to clear away the ward here, but that will, of course, spot out Peanut, and Peanut's sweeper, that'll come up in 1 minute and 30 seconds, which will reveal he is in the area. Now, with Gragas starting on the bottom side of the map, they are going to be mirroring pathing just a bit here, which does make it a little bit harder, I feel like, for Gragas to get a lot done, because while Gragas' ganks early on to the game can be quite strong, the CC and the range, he can hit you with that body slam flash. If there's ever a counter gank situation after he's burned all of his abilities, that's where Kindred can have a real nice time showing up.
Yeah, of course, we didn't get too much time to set some expectations for how you anticipate this one to play out. I love the interactions that we can see from that Gragas into the options for Kindred, Leona. I mean, Sett as well, with that showstopper, can have some tools. Mark, if it decides to go in and the ult's available, can get chucked right back out, and BDD dunking on xiye.
Yeah, it was a juicy press the attack proc right there. If you can get those 3 autos with the Lucian, it's going to be very nice, but xiye does trade back pretty decently in mid lane. He's also going to be rocking the Corrupting Potion with Teleport, so this is one of the best options I think you can take into Lucian early on, especially when he's going to be running Ignite. As you start with the 3 potions, you get 6 effectively when you do use that Teleport, and the extra burn damage helps you tag him on the way out like we saw, because you do outrange those auto attacks with a lot of those Syndra abilities, the balls you can toss out.
Exactly. Dark Sphere, Scatter the Weak, the whole works. If you look at the minimap, by the way, all 3 lanes for Gen.G shoving into LGD for now in the opening levels. Ruler and Life got a small bit of pressure unlocked for that level 2 push. We saw the trade from BDD in the mid lane. He's running the Ignite on that Lucian. Ruler with the cleanse going to be very crucial for the amount of hard CC that is on the side of LGD, and Peanut may be able to dance arrows over the wall.
I wonder if he's trying to come in for a bot lane gank here, because they know Life is walking up into the river. He could pop over this wall on him, but he's now missed his window just a little bit as they realize Life did not, in fact, go in the area, and now he's actually shown on a ward.
Yeah, so a little bit of hesitation there, and chose not to go in. Rascal gets a big trade of damage from Langx's Renekton. The wave is pushing into him, and now Clid's showing up. Look at the bot move, Ruler and Life.
Ooh, can he get here for the smite?
The move, smite fight available. It looks like Peanut unable to secure that one. No, he did.
No, Peanut did grab that one.
That's it. So yeah, smite came down.
And that's really huge in this matchup too, because he stole that one away, and unluckily the Mark is going to spawn on the top river, but he was not supposed to be able to get that Scuttle Crab when mid lane from BDD is pushing in so substantially. Bot lane too took some nice trades early on, so had the pressure there as well. So good on Peanut to be able to trade at least a crab in the early stage and then get back into cycling through his jungle camps, but won't get so lucky that he finds the Mark.
Yeah, Clid's going to immediately move to the north side river. Rascal is already back, picked himself up on his ring to complement the shield, filled up his pots, and Langx has now come down to at least threaten some sort of engage. Zenith Blade will tag onto Ruler. Kramer's going to be very happy with the trade thus far, but how much damage does Mark take on the way out? Ignite ticking away. And Ruler losing out on this one. Good initiation from Mark, and he's a man that, Ender, you wanted to see some more from.
Yeah, the laning, I'm like, you know, Mark, that's fine. I've heard so much about his roaming, so when you take good trades like this, then on the reset, can you get back onto the map? Because with a giant wave in the bot side and Ruler being low, Life isn't allowed to reset here. He has to stick around and make sure no dive comes through, you know, Ruler can safely farm this up, which means that Mark is going to get about, you know, 15, 20 seconds bonus on the map where he could, in theory, look to make a play around that mid lane, and I think that could be a good area to attack when you have the Syndra to set you up with a stun as well. Yeah,
definitely the case. And as we look across the map, Langx on their Renekton still slowly being pushed back in the lane. Down 10 CS. He does have a wave and a half in front of him, but Rascal seems to have domination for the time being. Consistently pushing the wave in, consistently pushing Langx back. BDD able to avoid scatter the weak from xiye. And this was the roam you talked about. Mark being unlocked. If you look at the minimap, Kramer's now back in lane. Ruler and Life, they bought and they reset.
Yeah, there wasn't a good enough, the lane wasn't in a good enough state to actually look for a gank there, especially with Peanut trying to go back to base too. So instead, we'll just buy xiye an extra recall. He already used the TP to get back in the lane. Now he's gonna like go back to base, make sure he chucks those potions one more time. And now top side, big trade from Langx.
Yeah, once again, a lot of damage. Rascal is really been bullying the lane for the time being. Peanut will be able to arrive just in time. Flash is available to him if there's any follow-up threat. So Langx loses the flash in the solo 1v1, falls back to his tower, and Clid's coming up. There is a potential dive here.
Yeah, and this is one of the great things about the Volibear is he trades so well in the early game, already 15 CS up, and now they're going to try to deny the wave. Langx has teleport, but not enough HP to actually stick around underneath the tower.
That's going to be so late here. Clid threatened the body slam. Flash stepping forward, but look at the number of minions that are consistently being denied. That's going to be another wave going. This is nearly 20 CS advantage in favor of Rascal, and BDD with the culling unlocked. He's low on mana though, so we can't continue the trade into xiye.
Yeah, trading with Lucian is kind of tough in lane without your blue buff if you want to trade really aggressively, especially on, you know, the recall when the enemy mid gets lost chapter. Things can get a little bit difficult for you, especially if you don't have a good purchase before then. He's still trying to play very aggro because, again, I think that just a farming map state is a win for LGD early on when you have Lucian plus Gragas around this middle lane. That's why BDD is going so hard here, using the ultimate to try and get full priority in mid, so that there could be a potential blue invade. I was thinking just the Scuttle Crab, but with how Gen.G want to play this, they might be able to walk in.
Ruler's level 5. There's no culling available for BDD, and he'll start off the Crab. But if you look at the minimap, Ruler and Life already, they were moving into the river. There is a very good ward just behind the red buff here for LGD. No teleport available though. Langx on cooldown, xiye's on cooldown. And they aren't being pushed back ever so slightly. It's a small advantage. That's the flash engage into Kramer. He's already used the cleanse, starting to step back and run away. Mark's got the flash available if he needs to. Support coming in from both Peanut and Clid as Ruler's very, very low. He's holding on to the flash as the volley will slow down Peanut. Defensive flash away. And there's no first blood secure.
Look at this. There's a teleport from Rascal in, coming behind xiye. He might want to turn this tower off or convert it into a bot lane dive.
Oh man, he is looking for that bottom lane. Full retreat coming out. Peanut's been able to back away. Flashes available.
They know though. They must have seen this because Peanut is sticking around. They're looking to counter this one out.
Can they make it work though? Kramer gets jumped on, dunked on, and the sky is split. He stays alive a few seconds longer. Ruler's escaping for now, and the tower dive has worked. The next target is going to be Mark. Rascal is tagging everything up. Flashes away. Does not find the CC. Gen.G get one and then get out.
Yeah, Rascal had a lot of the reliable damage there, so picking up the turret aggro, wasn't able to fully commit. Peanut even looking for Ruler right there, who still had flash. But that was a crazy fight down on the bottom side of the map because Rascal definitely wanted to capitalize off of this play, and this is exactly what I was talking about. Gen.G want to take this early mid game by storm, especially once they start unlocking their ultimates on the Ashe and on the Gragas, and now they're able to get a flash down in bot lane. Peanut, Langx also both missing flashes. The next few minutes, they're going to try to break it open.
The one thing to point out, despite the 1,000 gold lead that the team has accrued, that lane being left by Rascal has allowed Langx time to farm out. Yeah. We'll see if that becomes impactful, but Rascal, again, he's so farmed right now.
Yeah, he is. I think there was a Samsung emote there from Ruler as well. Nice little shout out from him. Good flash remark to get away from this, but again, Rascal tanking up the tower won't be able to reply. And now Life is moving back onto the map with the Rift Herald spawning up, but this is going to be a mid lane gank because right now Clid is going back to base. This is very unexpected for xiye.
Okay, Life is able to look for setup here. Let's see what happens. So the Hex Flash over the wall. Manages to get the chomp down. Very good stun from xiye, as he was able to avoid any further follow-up. Peanut is in range, got Lamb's Respite available if he needs to. and the rest of LGD making their move up as well.
Yeah, but now because Life is actually pathing back towards the bottom side of the map, the duo from LGD are just coming up here for Rift Herald. This might be a hard one to fight. Level 6 has come through from Kramer as well as Peanut. But it looks like Gen.G are going to try to match this one. Clid has Predator to get into the river.
Yeah, the entirety of Gen.G making their way up. Ruler's the only one stuck in the bottom lane.
Can't fight this.
They're simply split up too far. Mark can go into the Zenith play. Body slam, flash, barrel, already caught out. xiye is going low. The massive Lamb's Respite buys enough time for xiye to stay alive. Dawning Shadow is rattling across the team, and somehow Gen.G have done it. The barrel's come through. Here comes Rascal. The Sky Splitters come down. xiye is in trouble. Dash forward from BDD. Caught up by the Zenith blade. Body slam interrupts the engage from Langx, and that's Life going down. Langx and the rest of LGD trying to turn it back around. Rascal going low. He's down. He's dead. LGD win the fight.
Gen.G are crazy. They're going for the 4 versus 5, and it was so close to almost working, but it's LGD. As soon as Langx showed up into the fight, that was just too much for them to deal with. Ruler is yelling at Gubs like, what's going on up there, people? I'm just trying to farm it up, but LGD strike back.
It was so good for Gen.G right at the beginning, until LGD made it in. 2 kills secured for Peanut, 1 for Langx. But I think for LGD and viewers and fans at home, having Peanut get the kills is hugely pivotal for how this team has found success.
Yeah, and this fight starts off right. They tried to pick off xiye because even though you look at the map and it's technically a 4v5, the Volibear has first rotation down here. But the problem is all these ultimates to stall out and to buy time. The Ashe arrow does hit onto Kramer right there, but it doesn't cancel out the ultimate or anything like that. And, I mean, again, it looks okay for Gen.G, but there's no man on BDD, no HP onto Life, and then inside of 4 people, the sustain Langx is getting out of his Q. Like, it's insane. You cannot kill this man inside of 4 people without the DPS of their second AD carry there.
I absolutely love the fact that Clid was able to get the body slam interrupt into Langx's slice and dice. It delayed the inevitable just by a touch. But the chaos in that team fight, the madness of all the melee champions, when they stack on top of one another, it is just crazy to follow. LGD are still behind, down 700 gold. The Rift Herald was eventually secured by Clid, and Rascal, with the Ninja Tabby and the Kindle Gem coming up against the Black Cleaver, continues to bully Langx.
You know, it's interesting you're pointing out all these melee champions, because I'm realizing now LGD have 2 range champions that scale infinitely in terms of range. Kindred can get that, Senna of course can get that too, and that could be really hard later in the game, especially when Gragas is trying to catch people out. Sett as well. They're just trying to buy some pressure out of bot. I think they're going to try to convert this one into an early dragon, or with the Rift Herald, just place it down for some plates.
Yeah, Rift Herald's plate gank.
Oh, TP behind.
Down. Ruler's going to be able to escape. Insta-cleanse, by the way, which was beautiful. Ultimate for xiye. He fires it on Ruler, but he cannot get the damage. Clid is there to body block and save his bot laner's life. Committing to the play, saving the tower, losing the mid lane.
The Syndra flank TP goes horribly, horribly wrong right there. Gen.G say thank you very much. And they get so many plates off of this play. The Herald in the bot lane almost destroys the tower. BDD is also freely farming in mid. And they're going to walk over Vision. They can't really go into Dragon now. The way they were pathing it looked like they were going to try to head off xiye at the pass and make sure he couldn't even get towards that mid lane tower, because even Rascal down is moving down from the top side of the map. Ruler in trouble.
Predator was procced. Clid's going to be inside the pit. Ruler's got flash available to him, but he's going to get rooted up, and this should be a dead bot laner. 0-1-2 for Gen.G's Ruler, and this will mean Life and Clid, they back away from the Dragon Pit. They've lost their bot laner. He was flanked, surrounded, and killed.
Yeah, xiye has to be careful here farming out mid lane, because Gen.G clearly cannot fight of the dragon, but they could try to jump on him in mid lane. That's why he's literally just hugging his tower right now. This is a good responsive play from him, not to fall victim there.
2,000 gold lead so far for Gen.G. Dragon number 1 goes the way of LGD. I want to point out that Ruler is plus 20 CS in the bottom lane, BDD plus 10 in the mid lane, and Rascal had a lead in the top lane, but it was given up when he teleported down for those kills. I still think net positive overall, but we're setting ourselves up for another skirmish-heavy team fight mid-game, and this is the closest game we've seen all day long.
Yeah, it's been a bloody one, back and forth just a bit here as Life is setting up around mid, but I don't think it's going to work out. And when you say, you know, it's going to be a very scrappy game, I totally agree with you. And one of the biggest learnings I took from really studying the LPL and watching a lot of the plays is even after a team loses a fight in the LPL, they will always try to punish, whether that's respawning, teleporting behind on someone that's pushing a side lane, or they're setting up 3 people around bot lane. Ruler thinks he has 3 people in the area because they're in river, but LGD were able to slither through that denial of vision and find that pick. And that's something that we will continue to see over this game if the first 15 minutes are any indication.
And it's a lot of fun when you consider that until COVID impacted the VCS, Gen.G were going to have to qualify through play-ins. We lost the VCS teams, so Gen.G as the third representative from LCK was able to be automatically promoted to the group stage. And this is the first shot that we're seeing at them. They still have an advantage over LGD, the 4th seed from the LPL. They are ahead, but it is definitely not as sizable as we've seen, and now xiye is going to be the next target. There's a lot to see how...
They want to dive this tower. Peanut is close, but you have to look out because the chain CC between the Ashe and everything else is so massive. Here we go!
Yep, that's a...
Just like I was talking about.
Yep, definitely.
Peanut's ult is good, but he can't cast it when he's CC'd.
It felt like Peanut knew that was happening, or like there was the possibility. He was kind of like really tentatively moving forward. Still just got dunked on, and it's Clid that's the beneficiary. 100% kill participation. 3-0-2 on that Gragas, and that was what? Second rotation? So early pickup, it's working out in favor here for Gen.G.
Yeah, and it gives you like the validation of why didn't they go for something like the Evelyn, which a lot of people think is strong. Well, Mark jumps onto Clid, but the follow-up isn't here.
Yeah, I was waiting for the damage. I heard the excitement build up, and I'm like, there's no one to hit him yet. In actual fact, Mark is losing this fight. He initiated onto Clid.
Oh, no.
Takes the barrel in a couple autos. He's forced back. Look at the bottom lane.
Exactly. Every time LGD are forcing something, Gen.G are like, okay, but we're farming here. And it's BDD always farming. He's up 30 CS now. Some of those minions are going to be denied to the tower, and he's going to get a free reset in that bottom side of the map. So things are going very well for Gen.G. You can already see the gold lead is starting to stack and to build here as BDD will be working on that Infinity Edge. On those two items for Lucian with 50% crit chance, like, he packs a serious punch.
Gen.G, as their playstyle from the LCK, has been very objective focused. They have not been able to pick up a dragon yet. Within the LCK, they actually have the fastest Dragon Soul time. But the reason I say the objective point is, as there's some pressure in the top lane, multiple LGD members show, BDD, without teleport, confident enough with the vision they have and the awareness of LGD to push all the way to the inner turret. It's heads-up play. It's understanding of how to press the advantage. The next Rift Tail is going to be secured again in favor of Gen.G, and they can use this to knock over another tower.
Yeah, Gen.G have already shown that they can set up really good picks inside the enemy jungle, so the mid lane tower is low. I would like to see them use it around that area because you can already see they have the deep vision to set up for those picks later on. We already saw Clid, Ruler standing inside the enemy jungle to knock that one down and to find the kill onto Peanut. Now Life and Rascal do have to be careful. I really like how Life is playing this. He's hiding in the fog of war to make sure that this dive can't come through.
Exceptional vision, awareness, and understanding as Peanut steps forward. I don't know if he did see him or not. If you look at vision, by the way, a number of Gen.G wards in the northern half of the map. Peanut's going to get jumped on. Rascal's doing so much damage. Lamb's Respite will buy enough time for Lucian to arrive. The slam dunk Sky Splitter! Beautifully done from Gen.G, but here comes Mark. Dawning Shadow will buy some time. The Solar Flare won't find a target. xiye obliterates Ruler this time round. Revenge for the failed attempt.
And the dive is still coming through. Clid, though, waiting. He has ultimate.
Does indeed. Can he knock someone under the tower? Here comes xiye. Scat to the weak will not find the stun that it wants. And LGD will find themselves at least a kill. Some pressure on this tower, but BDD unchecked in the mid lane against Kramer.
Yeah, Gen.G using a really good, just using Fog 4 really, really well right there. But again, it's Ruler getting punished. The poor guy is just trying to farm it up. xiye hits him with the one-shot. LGD still going to win out with that turret in the bottom lane, but Gen.G able to find that mid lane tower even without using Rift Herald. And again, the control vision they have on the top side of the map already makes it so hard, and we'll be able to deny Peanut a lot of camps. And if you can slow down the Kindred and just extend this mid game for you, it's going to look really good for Gen.G.
So I know for the perspective of that Kindred and LGD, they also want to slow things down. Give Kindred and Senna time to farm, pick up some items along with xiye. But how do they dig themselves out of this gap? I mean, Gen.G are only going to get their first dragon, so Soul, less of a threat. I imagine Baron will become a scary possibility here that LG don't want to concede. But how do they bring themselves back into this game? They're down 3K.
Well, I think they have been going a little bit hard in some of these areas, and against their better judgment here. I do like xiye. He's quite powerful. Can pack the one-shot here onto BDD, but there's MR.
Yep, high skill button.
It's not a one-shot.
Not enough to pick up the kill. Dark Sphere was summoned, and xiye
teleport behind.
Chase. TP coming down. BDD has already used his flash. Langx, slice, dice, Blade of the Room King, and Cole the Meek for a kill. It did need a teleport, so teleport disadvantage I didn't see where Rascal TP'd though. I
believe he just TP'd up in the top lane, yeah.
And LGD are going to use this time, so they find a pick. Oh, this is good for the comeback potential.
Yeah, they're playing to the opposite side of, again, where Gen.G have been able to set up all of their vision. There's no objectives on the map either, so LGD just sort of want to dodge around Gen.G for the time being. The gap isn't gigantic for them necessarily, but when you look at the items and you compare almost 2 finished for BDD, Syndra will take a reset now and we'll be able to find that Luden's Echo no problem, but it wasn't the ideal position for them to fight on, like in any sort of 5 versus 5. And I think the other thing for LGD is you're either looking to play around picks with your Syndra or you're looking to play back in fights with your Senna and your Kindred and force the enemy team to overcommit into you. The damage is insane onto BDD, but of course he's going to be rocking a lot of MR both in runes and he has the null magic mantle in this fight, so the TP comes through and Langx says thank you very much.
Yeah, and of course Langx silently building up power. Blade of the Ruined King got himself the Black Cleaver, picked up as well. And those Mercury Treads, matching up against the building of the Frozen Fist and the Black Cleaver from Rascal.
So I did want to check in for everyone at home that's always wondering, like, what are the Senna stacks, what are the Kindred stacks? I just got the news, 2 stacks on Peanuts. That is no bonus whatsoever, and there are 37 on Kramer. So very close to hitting that second breakpoint. Of course, every 20 is when you get that bonus 25 range.
No, we'll keep you updated as we can on that. But in terms of the itemization, by the way, breakpoints, Essence Reaver Infinity Edge for BDD, coming up against Seeker's Omgod and Luden's Echo from xiye. So definitely very, very good position for BDD. And with the help of the Rift Herald in the mid lane, Gen.G are going to siege this one down. There is the potential for a skirmish, but there's so much information for Gen.G. Look at the control wards all the way up through LGD's jungle. So the Herald will get the boop, drop the tower to what, 5%? And Gen.G starts to back away. Life gets jumped on, but that's the delivery of Mark. Solar Flare comes down, and it is a complete waste. With Ultimate's thrown, nothing gains.
Yeah, not much gain there, but I do like the attempt with Rascal not having teleport stranded in that bottom lane. LGD are grouping up and trying to force with a numbers advantage, and that's exactly when they should be trying to take advantage of that. They also reclaim some vision, some territory on the map. But I think Gen.G, for the time being, are probably going to try to transition a lot of their topside vision down towards the bottom side. With Infernal Drake coming up in 2 minutes, there's a Scuttle Crab down there as well. As soon as these topside camps do go down, maybe they get back to base to refresh those control wards, they are going to look to extend that and set up inside the LGD jungle. Now, because we're on Infernal Rift, it's a little bit harder, I feel like, to control the enemy jungle completely, because with the brush down, with the walls down, like one ward can see a lot of the entrances into your jungle if you're on LGD side to try and stay safe down there, and you can't get camped in as many places.
This is where I start to get a little bit nervous for LGD. Setting up, controlling vision, playing around the objective smartly. Those were some of the biggest critical points we had from their play-in's performance. I said this when we were prepping for the game. I can see Kramer inting at a dragon fight to cost the lead for LGD in what was a 5 versus 4. So I need to see how LGD played. They're in a 2,000 gold deficit, which is less and less meaningful as we're getting 2 items completed, as we're moving later into the game. But you can't deny the fact they're still down. They are behind. It has been Gen.G that has thrown and landed more punches early on. And it is Gen.G that are starting to contest some vision here in the river for Infernal, which spawns in 50 seconds.
Yeah, they need to own their jungle first and then potentially capitalize off of that. Cooldowns to keep in mind here. Langx, no teleport, so he's just going to try and break that top lane tower, or without any vision, not actually fully commit to that. He'll just let the minions do the trick before walking down here. And no one from Gen.G is responding to that top lane wave, so all that's going to be lost as Ruler barely dodges the Scout of the Week.
Oh, I clenched for Ruler on that one. The stun was so close. Culling will do a lot of damage onto that. The engage comes in from Life. That's a showstopper of note. Mark is able to throw out the Solar Flare, but it is Life that is lost. Now Rascal continues the chase. The Sky Splitter comes up, as well as the follow-up bite damage, and Rascal's blown up by xiye. All of the pressure onto LGD costs Gen.G.
It's a 2-for-1 trade right there in favor of LGD, but can they get back into the river? xiye, no ultimate, so all these ultimates are down except for Peanuts. The engage options not necessarily there. They're going to trade the Drake for the mid lane turret. LGD are going to accept that one. They need the gold. They're going to bring it back to even.
Absolutely the case. 2 dragons to 1. This will be 4 towers to 3. What is Clid thinking? He's starting to make his way back. Rascal's up in 15 seconds with teleport. And the rest of it is starting to
Gen.G are pinging the ward inside the jungle they placed far earlier on. They need 10 seconds, and then Rascal can get in here and party.
LGD are trying to run away. Lamb's Respite is available, and they're starting to split. Remember, the Fire Rift means there's less walls to pincer move people in. Gen.G, how frisky are they feeling? They're sticking around inside the pit. Mark goes all the way forward, caught by the body slam, the barrel roll. That's a two-man stun from xiye. By some time, Mark stays alive thanks to the help of Peanut. Lamb's respite keeps him up. The teleport was not committed from Rascal, but the Baron might just be.
Do Gen.G want to start this one up? They have double marksman. They do get through this very quickly, and Rascal on top of this Volibear. He didn't have to use the teleport. He just walks into this, and now Mark won't have a way to get back onto the map.
No, he absolutely will not.
He's still
He's
here.
staying inside the pit. He needs to body slam over the wall, and he does. xiye's got a lot of dark spears on the wall. Goes golden, solar flare. Not going to find the target.
Oh!
The Zenith Blade does! Mark goes all the way in, but where's the follow-up damage? Nobody did just yet until Mark gets blown up. Now Langx is being hammered away on two carries. The barrel locks him against the wall, and Rascal can't find a follow-up. Mark loses his life, but stops the Baron.
Oh, just a crazy, crazy game here, Trevor. Gen.G baiting in LGD, and yet they only get one kill this game. Very, very close after LGT took some good fights, but this is the teleport we were waiting for. Rascal is coming in.
He absolutely is. Sidesteps the stun on all fours, and xiye gets set up for the dunk down by Rascal. Do they reinitiate the Baron?
It's okay, Trevor. xiye pressed his counterplay button, so life is going to fall in the fight as well. It's a 4 versus 4, but support for mid laner is still worth it for Gen.G. Peanut doesn't have his ult, so he can't pop over the wall and stop the Baron from going down, and Gen.G are looking once again for Langx.
The culling is starting to tick away. Langx's going low. Zenith Blade finds Clid. Dawning Shadow as well. That's the kill into Clid. No smite for a follow-up Baron. BDD is using the passive fantastically, dashing in and out. So xiye and Mark are down. They managed to get themselves cleared in life from a little bit earlier.
It's just 1 for 1, 1 for 1, 1 for 1 every single fight. These teams just locked into it here, and now we've reached a point because everyone is showing their cards, right? It's not about setting up vision anymore and then advancing into the enemy territory. It's just see hero, kill hero, and that's given LGD a much better chance in terms of turning these fights around. Mark was able to pick off Clid right there at the back and does cost his life. The weakness of Leona. No great escape there without the stone plate completed, or now has the stone plate, of course, but wasn't able to pop it there.
Go in and win, or die. Those are the only two options that you have on a Leona. While we were watching the replay, Langx was killed just outside the inner mid turret. He was pushing down. It looked like BDD and Ruler were able to catch him out, so he's considered his first death of the game. 11 kills to 10. This is the most competitive game we've had all day long, which I'm very happy to see. 2 minutes until the next Infernal Drake. It is still not a Dragon Soul point, but you can feel the amount of pressure and the gravity that is being applied by this Baron. Both teams being sucked in, and they're contesting the neutral objective.
And there's a big wave building in that bottom lane. xiye is the only player on LGD with teleport, so no one's actually going to go down there, pick it up. Now Langx starts pathing that way, but Gen.G have that wave in mind. They were pinging it out. They were thinking maybe we can move over towards the Baron. But again, because we've just had so many repeated fights, Gen.G's deep vision has now been lost. They have not been able to advance that, so that's the first step here, is try and get control over the enemy jungle. But again, on Infernal map, like, you're going to see all the movements of your opponent, so going for these picks is so much more challenging.
It really, really is, and it's going to be even more challenging to secure this objective. Both teams shown a willingness to scrap and fight. We're nearly 30 minutes in, and we've seen, what, 3-4 rounds of Baron battles? But with the Infernal Drake up next, I wonder if someone's going to be able to sneak that away, as Rascal's got his 3rd item completed and still continues to be such a nuisance in the side of LGD.
Ruler's sitting on a ward right here that he doesn't know about for the time being. He did finish 3 items, though, so Ruler has entered the server. Got picked off a couple of times while his team was making plays earlier in the game, but now that we have entered the team fights, 3 items on the Ashe will be a huge focal point for Gen.G in terms of keeping him alive, making sure Langx or Mark can't dive onto him. But Gen.G are, again, owners of the river here, fighting over the mid wave. They want to push that forward, and the arrow does not connect.
Sidestep, Kramer and xiye saw that one coming, had more than enough time to react. Both of whom still had flash available as well, if it was even a possibility. Important to note, Peanut's the only one, along with Mark, on the side of LGD that do not have their flash. And LGD, they're committing to this
Gen.G are on this flank. Watch life come around the corner here with the showstopper.
Langx's got the opportunity to get behind Gen.G.
It's a double flank.
Good stun. being landed there by xiye. The Infernal's been pulled outside the pit by Gen.G, and now we've got ourselves the tops battling on the left-hand side, and the rest of the team's in the river.
LGD still fighting over this, dragging down to 2,000 HP. Mark goes in.
It's going to reset. Remember, Lamb's respite can buy some time. Scout of the week will be able to stun it. Stolen! Gen.G managed to pick it up. They find themselves. The follow-up is now all of a sudden Langx is trying to escape. That root will land onto Rascal. Mark commits. The solar flare's already been used. That's a flash forward from Langx. He's wrecking the double AD backline. Defensive flash away from Ruler, but it will cost him his life.
No, Ruler stayed alive. He was able to sustain off of the back end of that, and now they're going to be able to move into the Baron potentially. They had the lifesteal, so not going to do that with the big wave building up into the bottom lane. That was crucial, though, Ruler being able to get over that wall, buy the space between him and Langx.
Langx flashed in, put as much damage down as he could, was taking out Rascal despite the man that was initiated on. He walked out. The Stoneplate did so much for him, and now Gen.G are one dragon away from the soul with a double AD call.
Oh, the ultimate there with the double smites coming down. Clid gets that kill, but in these team fights, while it has been, both teams have so much initiation options. Double marksman on both teams means kiting back and keeping your backline alive is the most critical at all stages. Ruler did not have his cleanse in that fight, but he did pop up in time to get over that wall and get the trade down. It is about keeping your backline alive, and that will always win you the team fight after the initial burst goes down.
Oh, but you can feel LGD's willingness to throw down. They just weren't able to stick the damage. Mark on this Leona has had some moments that are good, but he was one of the players we talked about in terms of the pre-tournament expectations, not necessarily living up to them in play-ins, and he hasn't been able to find the solar flares to help LGD out in these fights. It is difficult, don't get me wrong. Getting through Gragas, Volibear, Sett, I acknowledge that. But it's a reason LGD are still 3,000 gold down. And now we once again go back to the Baron dance. North of the river.
They're hiding in the brush, looking for the pick.
Yeah, Mark's gonna get caught out. Yeah, this should just be an easy kill. How much can Mark do? Solar Flare not even used just yet. Stays alive. A few seconds. A peanut forced to flash. That could be pivotal if the Baron gets started.
Yeah, not having that one is going to be a big deal. I think Gen.G are going to want to start this up. Langx is on the rotation. And again, Gen.G don't have their side wave set up, so they're going to fan out and pick that up. We've been in this situation before where Mark goes down, and it is just not enough to convert into a Baron at this point in the game.
No, it really isn't. And you've also got to respect the fact that inside the pits, with the Kindred ultimate, with the multi-man stun available from xiye Syndra, there's a lot more at risk on the side of Gen.G. But they've got themselves 2.5 minutes to the soul. They've still got the threat around Baron. It has felt as though they have had superior vision for the most part. It has been challenged, it's been contested. But every time Gen.G's just one small step ahead of LGD. And we're building up to a climactic team fight, is what it is feeling like here around either
really
the
does.
soul or the
maybe a
Baron.
couple of them still,
Yes.
Trevor, because these team fights for the last 10 minutes have not been decisive. And that's a really big deal because, again, neither team, you see like in the last fight, Langx fully commit to the backline. LGD realize either he gets the kill and we can continue, or he's going to go down and we have to back it up. So neither team has fully thrown themselves into a team fight just yet. And that means that when they finally do, it's going to be absolutely crazy. The key thing to look at, though, is when these backliners do not have flash. So Ruler lost his in the last fight. Langx doesn't have his. That's a bit of a bummer there for LGD. But Peanut was forced to burn his flash, too, and he doesn't have a QSS.
Now, at this stage in the game, as a Kindred at 32 minutes, how many stacks do you think you should have?
See,
what would be acceptable?
It's really hard because pro play is very different from
Yes.
solo queue. Solo queue, you're going to be farming a whole lot more. And I actually just sent out a little bit of a message to try and check in on that. I think that is going to be 3 stacks on the Kindred. So he has yet to actually get that range bonus.
That also indicates just how defensive, how pushed back LGD have been throughout the course of this game. You know, it's been Gen.G in control. For the Senna, by the way, Kramer, sitting on 74 or 75 stacks at this point in time. So very close to that 80 mark. And Ender set me up. A minute to go to Infernal. It looks like Gen.G are trying to push a wave out here, and LGD, they don't want to concede river control.
Yeah, Gen.G are always going to fight for the wave in mid lane first and force a couple members of LGD to go back. I like this approach where you cut through the jungle, but you have to take control of that bush at the north end of your screen here. If you can own that, then you can stop LGD from coming into their jungle. But if you can't, then they have free reign because that area is completely opened up with the walls burning down.
It's a 4,000 gold lead. It's a 4-item complete Ashe for Ruler. Sitting for 3.5 for Kramer, and you can see the control. Rascal will once again go toe-to-toe with Mark. Life waiting to deliver someone to the back line. Rascal takes a little burst of damage, and there's no commitment. 18 seconds, this is Soul for Gen.G if they pick it up.
Both teams have wards to spot out their flank, so Langx can't get around the corner again. Look at the...
That solar flare was fantastic, but the Zenith Blade did not find its target. So the initiation comes out. Ashe are right between the updates. Goal for Gen.G, and the Dragon is now live. We're once again going to be battling. Gigantic burst of damage onto BDD. Where's the follow-up? The Zenith Blade found by Mark, but there's no follow-up damage. Enough disengage from Clid, and Life will sacrifice himself to save the rest of the team.
So the xiye gets another stun on the back end of the fight. Mark finding BDD there was absolutely critical. LGD are going to prevent the Infernal Soul from going the way of Gen.G. Again, though, a single player falls in another incredibly intense moment here in this game.
14 kills, 13 kills to 11, 24 total thus far. That was the 80th stack picked up for Kramer, by the way, on that Senna. And now with 10 seconds left to go, LGD are looking to hunt down Rascal. Clid saving Gen.G, I feel, with that explosive cast. It knocked so many members of LGD away. And how bold are LGD feeling? The Dragon Soul timer has been reset. 4.5 minutes. Strap yourselves in, because this is going to be a long one.
All right, I want to see how Mark finds this one, because so much damage went on to BDD. The Flash E, it does follow through, and they don't finish off BDD. There was a big cast from Clid that knocked away the backline from LGD, and if Mark had ultimate, he's going to be able to finish off BDD on his own, and maybe then LGD can force a little bit harder. But it is worth noting that outside of Leona's engage options, and then, you know, a flank from Renekton, it's hard to extend the fight after, because Gen.G can simply walk away. They can get out of a lot of the range that LGD have.
And when you look at the tools they have, you know, from the Gragas, the Ashe, there's a lot of like peel options. Like you said, keep range, keep peel back, keep distance, and your double AD comp can keep winning. However small that might be at this stage. What is this?
People are in a side lane? Rascal and Langx are down bot side. It's crazy. They have teleports if they want to get into this, but this is what I've been waiting for Gen.G to do, is take control of an area of the jungle. With Baron buff being the only realistic objective on the map, they have full vision there, but LGD have done this for the last 20 minutes. They've just dodged where Gen.G are powerful when they don't have to play for an objective, and that's how they're taking control of bot side.
Oh, Rascal's gonna get caught out. He'll be able to survive long enough to hop over the wall. And the high skill button didn't find its target. Blastcone pushed away. The rest of Gen.G now trying to pull LGD towards them.
Yeah, and Rascal can use this teleport once he gets home to find a flank onto this. But this Baron's going down so quickly, it's going to go down.
They're going to be here too late. Too little, too late. Solar Flare comes out. Can LGD win the fight? They need to get rid of multiple Baron buffs. Langxing's diving forward into both ADs. He's got himself one. He's looking for another. It is at the cost of Peanut's life, who didn't even get the Lamb's Respite down. Rascal TP's in, only to be sent right back to the fountain.
LGD destroyed Gen.G right there. Langx, an absolute beast on the flank, tears apart the Gen.G backline, and they're going to be able to push for so much here, Trevor.
30-second death timers for multiple members, 40 for a few more, and LGD with a 4-man stack will continue to push. It is against the Baron Impart minions that will slow them down ever so slightly, but this should be an inhibitor.
Yeah, it's just Sett here. He's not going to be able to clear it from range unless he throws his body into it, gets the showstopper down to clear away those minions. 20 seconds away from BDD, 10 on Clid. Clid shows up with ultimate. That should be enough to stop this game from ending right here, but LGD way back in it.
This is such a turn of events. LGD punishing Gen.G inside the pit, and this was the initiation after the Baron.
Yeah, Mark is able to find Clid inside the pit, but watch Langx, the home guards flying on in here. BDD tries to get out, but 1 versus 2 is able to win this one. Peanut helps him out for a second and trades his life there, but when you get split up, when your backline doesn't have the peel, because Rascal and Clid were in the front, they weren't able to help him out, that is so deadly against Gen.G.
And Langx, he's been trying to jump onto that backline multiple times. This time makes it stick. Just before the gold graph popped up, Peanut was on the player cam, and he was only describable as ecstatic. Bouncing around in his chair, gigantic smile on his face, because the super minions in the mid lane against a minute and 10 seconds of Baron on life only is going to allow LGD some additional time on the Rift. But I think it's crucial to point out, this will be Dragon number 3 for LGD. We're still a few minutes away from Baron spawning, so we're still in for a long one.
Yeah, we are. Ruler, by the way, just finished 6 items, so 75% crit chance on that one, has the Mortal Reminder too. BDD also finished that. So they're itemizing to deal with Renekton. Renekton is the problem for Gen.G, which is crazy to think in the team fight phase, because he doesn't have Flash or TP. Finding that flank is so insanely hard. A fight around this Drake, even though Gen.G just lost the last one, should look good for them here.
Yeah, Langxing's got the Randian Omen, xiye, Blade of the Ruined King, and that Black Cleaver. Rapid Fire Cannon was picked up by Peanut, who is level 16. I didn't quite see him getting blown up, but he wasn't able to get the ultimate down during the previous fight. And LGD, they've been pushed back. They do not have control of the ring.
Exactly. So because Langxing doesn't have a flash and there's QSS options on the backline from Gen.G, it falls on Mark to find the engage or xiye with the Scout of the Week. Langxing can follow up, but he can't carry it on his own like he did in the last team fight.
Dragon's inside the pit. Mark's got that solar flare. Where will he fire the target? Langxing stepping all the way forward. Gets tagged by the volley, and Gen.G respecting the AoE initiation tools. They start to back out, and I've seen this before.
Can Clid steal it again, Trevor? That's the question here. LGD are piled up as 5 ready to go for it, but it's going down low.
That's the engagement. Mark manages to find his man. Dawning Shadow goes down. The Dragon is picked up by LGD. That's the third, but can they win the follow-up fight? Life with a gigantic shield. Stays alive long enough to run away. Gen.G are destroying LGD. The double AD carries are not under enough threat.
Oh, xiye!
Blown up. BDD killed by the high skill button. Defensive flash away from xiye as Langxing has to run for his life. It does look like Kramer has been able to escape for now, but at the cost of 4 of his teammates.
It's so critical. Peanut found the smite on the Drake right there to prevent the Infernal from going over. Is he still in this bush? Kramer sticks around!
So much damage on the Clid, but he won't be able to pick up the kill. He roots down Ruler. The super minions pouring into the base. This will buy some time. And Kramer, if he can keep Gen.G busy, this is good for them.
I mean, life is coming around here. How long can they wait before killing Kramer? They are going to finish him off, and Ruler gets the ace. But now Kramer going to be desynced from the rest of his team 50 seconds before he gets back onto the map. Should give Gen.G the ability to control the map.
Ladies, gentlemen, and everybody else, welcome to Worlds Groups. Finally, a crazy competitive game, and the back and forth has been non-stop.
But it's huge here. Again, no flash on Langxing. Also gets slammed against the wall with the ulti coming out from Clid. The backline from Gen.G cannot be touched. All this damage trying to go into life. He is able to escape. Like, how is that even possible? And Ruler gets to free fire. Langxing will get kited out permanently, and it's only xiye with the press of a single button that can take out one of those marksmen.
But it is very crucial to see if xiye can get in range, he can insta-gib one of the ADs. Good luck getting in range, that's your challenge. But if you are with the Death Cap, the Ludens, the Void Staff, he's able to do so. 3 dragons apiece, 3,000 gold difference, 3 minutes to Infernal and 1 to Baron. We're not done yet.
So I really like this. This is a smart adaptation from Ruler because he was sitting on a Mortal Reminder for most of the game, but because BDD finished his own, he's like, we don't need 2 sources of anti-heal. He upgraded that to a Lord Dominic's Regard, so we'll give him more damage here, and BDD can try to cut through the healing. It's important to note, though, in that last fight, we were tracking Summoners. Ruler used his flash to finish off a kill, and Langxing's has now returned. No flash on BDD, so the cleanses are still there, but LGD can try to burn that to allow Langxing to get into the backline.
I mean, it literally comes down to, can he find his man? Can Langxing get to BDD and Ruler or xiye? And if they can't, Gen.G win the fight. Like, it feels like it's that simple, but they do have to deal with the waves being pushed in. Side lane's a little bit neglected this game, I feel.
Yeah, it's Volibear versus Renekton. This game's always going to be about those team fights. Forget the sides, even if you have teleport. And now with Baron buff spawning, it's important here, there's not really vision for Gen.G. No teleport flanks for either side to be able to work with, but Rascal is sticking around in the bot lane.
And can you possibly lean one direction or the other for the team fights? I mean, is this...
I think Gen.G. I like the backline from Gen.G. If they can kite out Langxing, it's looking good. And Ruler is so insanely strong full build.
Can Baron go down before the fight breaks out? No.
Langxing on the flank.
We have arrived. Langxing's got the teleport available, doesn't even need it. Putting some pressure onto Ruler. BDD will make his way into the pit, and Baron is now reset.
But Langxing just wasted his ult so early, and now he has to use his flash to escape. It's a disaster for LGD. The one card they had left in their hands when it came to forcing these fights from the side, Langxing now lost both his ult and his flash.
Yeah, this is definitely not the cleanest game we've seen, but it is very entertaining. Pushing through the darkness, LGD stacking up as 4. They get themselves a control ward inside the pit.
Peanut has
3,000
ult.
HP.
Oh, he lost it!
Gen.G gets it! Gen.G secures the Baron, and Peanut forced to flash out for his life. 5 Baron buffs. They get out alive.
Clid, Steel Eyes right there, is able to lock down the smite. Peanut was trying to get over the wall because he can use his ultimate to stop the Baron buff from falling, but he was too late. That's what I was saying. He missed his window to be able to stall that one out and bait a smite out of Clid. It could have been his to take.
It was not. And now with a minute until the Infernal Soul, no flash for Langx. Dominus will not be available. I think it should be by the time the fight is on the cards. But all game long, for 44 minutes, Gen.G have been one step ahead of LGD. They have had more advantages. And yes, LGD have fought back real hard. But it has been LGD that have maintained the advantage, maintained the lead. And now they need to close this one out. They've got Baron for another 2 minutes. They can put some pressure on this Infernal Soul, and with the double AD comp, that's going to be...
Yeah, it's Gen.G in full control, and LGD trying to push through mid. There is a wave they can play with. Clid does take some damage. How much can they get here?
A lot of damage coming out. Langx finds the stun, goes golden. The showstopper comes out from life. Lambs respond by some time. Fantastic barrel from Clid. Peanut's able to escape, and xiye is now running. Mark manages to find a stun, but it's BDD that gets the first of the fight. Now Mark is locked down, stunned. xiye gets one back on life, but it may not matter. Sky Splitter comes out as all of the follow-up damage from BDD, and now Kramer running for his life.
Yeah, Kramer gonna get double flashed on. He can't escape from this. Meanwhile, Clid is taking the Dragon Soul in the bot lane. LGD are trying to get back to base, and Kramer does buy some time. Langx cancel the recall, and now the TP comes in.
xiye's gonna try chase. xiye is available. That's a stun onto Rascal. Langx's gonna be able to cull the meat. The focus right now is Rascal, then they'll turn their attention.
Wait a second, Ruler's here.
Ruler's arrived to the fight, and Rascal survives.
And now Gen.G can just push down mid lane. The teleport was used. There's no one left to try and clear away the minion waves. There's an Infernal Soul on Gen.G. They have the inhibitor, they have the Baron buff. They're pushing for the win.
They absolutely are. Ruler will be untouched, undefended. He manages to finish this game out. Here comes xiye, pushing forward, gets the stun. Cleanse comes out, Nexus down. Gen.G finally take down LGD.
The best game of groups, Trevor. That was ridiculous. For 30 minutes, we saw 1-for-0 fights, 1-for-1 fights. Both teams very evenly matched in that regard. But at the end of the day, it was the backline for Gen.G that prevailed. We're used to this by now. BDD and Ruler, full build on him, was able to keep this one a win for Gen.G.
It's the first game of the group stage that was competitive. It was not clean, okay? It was not impressive. However, it does give us a lot to talk about, a lot to think about. This scaling, fighting around objectives, gameplay style, watching how Langx was still able to find an impact despite being in a deficit, that is a good sign. Watching BDD and Ruler still maintain some modicum of control in the chaos of those later game fights. But it will give us a lot to analyze.
Yeah. It was set up to be sort of wild in the fights if it was close on gold, because you have like both teams had like 2 or 3 players that wanted to stay completely in the back lines and then 2 that wanted to dive all the way in. So it was always a battle of can you actually make the damage stick in the back end of it. And you know, it was Ruler to come out on top there with Gen.G. Really impressive performance by him multiple times there to kite out Langx.
Yeah, absolutely the case. I mean, that Ashe was, he didn't get an advantage very early on, but as the team fights played out, really, really good positioning. I was really happy that after we started talking about Mark, and myself was a little critical, he managed to find some really strong engages. That Zenith blade onto BDD just behind blue buff.
Oh, that was sick.
I think Clid follows it up with the Gragas barrel. Like, what I really like about this is you can see the execution of the draft and how it plays out. The Gragas has a counter to Kindred, expecting that for Peanut, and it worked.
Yeah, and we saw that in the later fights especially, knocking them out, like people living on just slivers of HP. It was a really, really intense game. I hope we get some more like that, Trevor, because that was a banger.
We have one more game to go before we get to it. Let's check out Gen.G's Mercedes drive to victory. It was the Drake fight 40 minutes in. We need to see which one this is first.
Yeah, so this is one I believe that Peanut lands the smite on.
Yes, there we
right
go.
here. So it wasn't the game ender, but a huge pickup right there from Life. Drops him down. Jump bear slap. You happy with that one, Trevor?
Good shout out to the graphics team.
A little shout out to one of your calls back in the day here. But this fight was a good one for Gen.G, and you saw how Ruler was able to kite it out when LGD can't actually get that dive off, and when the summoners weren't up on Langx, the backline had pretty free reign here for Gen.G.
I mean, Volibear's ultimate, the Stormbringer, perfectly describes this game. It was a storm of team fights over and over and over, and I still don't know exactly how I feel about Gen.G overall coming into it. I expected LGD to be a little rough around the edges after seeing them play. I think I expected slightly cleaner performance, but it's game one. I'm not trying to.
Yeah. Don't try too much off of game one. I think it was madness. We got dragged down into the madness, and we can appreciate.
We love it. We love it. I hope you enjoyed it as well. We're stepping away, but as we go, let's check out the comms from Legacy in game 2 versus LGD, and our sounds of the game presented by Bose. Oh, it's an old game. Right,
yeah.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Still. Well, I'm tanking still dragon.
Oh, I got hit.
Justin's
gonna be mine.
Nid can't smite.
Double flank, double flank. No, don't finish.
It's 3k.
Okay, go.
I can't stop.
Caston's tagged.
Monkus, can anyone finish with me or no?
Oh,
Okay, I just have to sleep this guy.
Stand. He's dead.
I'm out of the fight. I can't smite.
I think just flip it.
Go. Doesn't matter.
Look back.
Yes.
Ezreal's gonna get attacked.
Actually, doesn't matter.
Camille?
I'm gonna attack her.
I'm still damaging.
I can hear
You guys kill.
Ezreal's big target.
I flash up.
Maybe we can still win. If this guy gets stunned, he can go one shot.
Ezreal no E.
Nice. One shot.
I don't think he has flash.
You might.
Okay, doesn't matter. Nice.
Nice, guys.
You guys Baron or no?
Oh, it's Smurf.
day one of the group stage, where we are closing things out with one of the most exciting matchups this world has to offer, if you like rivalries, that is, and I think we all do. EU's Fnatic faces off against North America's TSM, the two most popular organizations in their respective regions. We're, of course, talking about the NA versus EU rivalry, and it's really cool because these are two very storied organizations in their respective regions. Of course, Fnatic aiming to get back to that domestic success. TSM just coming off finally regaining that title.
Yes, it's been a very interesting split for both teams, and I think that when you look at the history, it's so fascinating that neither of these organizations have yet met at a World Championship. Now we're finally going to get to see it, but I think that when you have two such massive fan bases clashing against each other, you know that everyone is going to be excited to see who will come out on top, especially when Fnatic look like that they have a formula for success with their carry jungler versus TSM, who just came off the back of winning a big split.
Yeah, I completely agree with Bedias there. The carry jungle from Selfmade might be very strong in this game. I think, I mean, it's TSM's 8th time at Worlds.
Yeah, that's crazy. I know, but it's been 3 years, like they haven't made it in the last year.
Yeah, true. I mean, there's different levels of success here, right? Fnatic in the last 3 years, so much success, whereas TSM, yeah, they made it out of groups in 2014 back in the days, but now it's a new story, new TSM, new Fnatic.
Yeah, I love the way you said that. It's always about contrasting the domestic success and the domestic bliss versus what can you do internationally. And for TSM, yes, in 2014, they made it out. But for the rest, they've always had heartbreak and tiebreakers at Worlds. So they're going to look to do well here. And central to these both these teams and organizations, I should say, throughout the years are, of course, the AD carries in the bot lane. Doublelift versus Reckless. When you talk about icons in their respective regions, well, we've got two of them right there.
Yes, we certainly do. I think that what's impressive is that they've both been playing for so long, yet they still sit atop of their respective regions. Very few have come close to Reckless domestically in Europe, and the same can be said for Doublelift. Many have tried. Many European AD carries have even tried, yet very few have been able to thwart him. So I think that it's very impressive to see that both still such long-standing AD carries once again meeting on the international stage.
Yes, central to their team. So let's talk about how these teams like to play. And I think maybe many people, if they don't follow the LCS, thinks, well, you know, I know this story. Bjergsen and TSM, it's Bjergsen and 4 wards, and that's it. But that's no longer the case. What can you tell me about how TSM likes to play and win games nowadays?
Well, they're very, very strong in the best of 5s. They got the pocket picks from mid especially. They got the Zilli and the TF. They got the Nidalee as well. And the thing I noticed about TSM is they're quite a slow team. Very, very slow, in fact. I think they win most of their games from either looking for these 1-3-1 comps with Broken Blade on the Lucian or the Jace or the Camille, something like this, or they just win in team fights straight up with Bjergsen on the Mage. The only thing that I'm unsure about is whether Broken Blade can pull out these picks, like basically copying Nuguri with the Jace, sorry, with the Lucian. Can they pull it off? That's kind of my question for TSM.
And I think on the contrast, when we look at how Fnatic approach the game, they're very much driven towards their heavy jungle carry style. When you look at recent performances in Selfmade, they've been putting him in positions to basically 1v9 the game, and the Evelyn was the best example of that. He was picking champions that he could just run away with the game on, and the team would do everything in their power to funnel resources into him and allow him to snowball.
And famously, if you didn't catch that in the LEC split, Fnatic was struggling to find their identity, and then all of a sudden in the playoffs, they came out swinging, and even BG2 with a Selfmade that was on a carry jungler. And we asked them, and they said it was really simple. Actually just put Selfmade on carry. But, you know, with the meta evolving, we don't know how that's all going to play out here. I also want to talk a bit more about Bjergsen because he is the star of that team together with Doublelift. And the man is just so incredibly versatile. He had 51 bans against him in playoffs. You just can't ban him out, and he has become so much more versatile than he has the last couple of years.
You can always ban him out, but he's always going to have a pick, whether it's LeBlanc, a supportive mid laner, a mage, anything of the sort. Bjergsen kind of has it up his sleeve. Late game carry, early game carry, anything you need, basically, and it all comes down to the mid jungle for me. I think Selfmade, Nemesis versus Bjergsen and Spica. Spica, obviously one of the youngest players in Worlds right now, alongside Carrier, so he's definitely gonna have to step up for his first Worlds, I think. Bjergsen obviously is a great player to have by your side in that situation, but like you were saying, the meta right now is so favored carry jungles. It's so favored to supportive tops, supportive supports that can help you, maybe even supportive mids at times. So it's the mid jungle which I'm looking at here.
Yeah, I'm hearing you giving the favor a bit to Fnatic just because of that jungle in specific and the mid jungle synergy.
I would say so, mainly because of the jungle style meta. But I would give TSM the favorable in sort of the draft department. I think they have way more picks they can pull out, especially in the solo lanes. And if Bjergsen can get his hands on something like the Zillion or the TF, I think he might be able to carry away the game.
And I think this is what's really interesting interesting because while many would probably give the advantage to Selfmade in the jungle, I think that it's fair to say that based on Nemesis's split, it would be quite easy to make the argument that Bjergsen feels like the stronger laner in this 1 versus 1, and it's very much going to matter about who comes out on top. And when we look at the draft, when we look at the meta, I think that Nemesis is actually in a comfortable position. Twisted Fate is rising in prominence once again. Lucian is a very comfortable and powerful pick for him, and I think that Cassio actually has a lot of value that isn't being fully utilized yet, that is actually one of his go-to picks from back in the day. So I think that the meta is going to be, or the draft approach is going to be very interesting, and we'll get to see how both teams have prepared and leveled up. Because remember, it's been a whole month since we've seen either of these teams play.
Yes.
They've been scrimming, practicing, prepping, they've gone through quarantine. Like, the teams that we saw in finals are not the teams that we're going to see today, and so all we're really doing is guessing and standing, like picking players we want to watch, and I definitely think it's going to be an exciting one.
Well, that is all we can do. We can try and direct to where we think things are going to be important, but we never know, and that is the beauty of the World's group stage. Fantastic. Also, in the context of this group, what are these teams going to bring? It's time for a quick break. Get your snacks, and then we'll be right back for our final game of the day: TSM versus Fnatic. Yes.
Let's go!
It's really important for us to beat Fnatic to make it out of our group. I feel like if we lose to them, it'll put us on a pretty bad start because Gen.G is probably better than them. And if we can't even beat Fnatic, we have a low chance of making it out. So it's really important for us.
So I would say it's very important for us to beat TSM in the first game. Not necessarily because it's TSM, but I have been here before. When you win your first game, everything else feels much easier. Opening with a win would be very big for us, but obviously they're a good team, so we need to come in with our A game.